Welcome back, folks. We're glad you found your way back to this again. Something completely different this week. You're going to want to see this. What's going on here? We're not sanding and fairing. Stay tuned. If you're new to our channel, my name is Rick, and with my adoring wife Lori, we're building our retirement dream, a 31.5-foot diesel trawler right here in our backyard. This past week, I worked on making a hatch coaming for the forward cabin top. I had an offcut of white oak, which is 2 inches thick, that I machined and cut up into the sizes I'll need to frame up the coaming, as well as a wee bit of the design work that had to go into it. There's also a final fairing of the forward cabin, but I decided to spare you from having to watch me sand that. Anyways, there's some photos of the project's progress at the end of this video, so be sure to check those out. So without any further ado, let's get this boat on the water. So the first part of the process starts with getting this huge chunk of white oak cleaned up, just planing off the rough surfaces, and then I'll trim up one edge to get it nice and square, and we'll get to chopping it up into little bitty pieces. You've seen me do something like this before with the same wood for the windlass and anchor platform on the front end of the boat, so I'll put a link in the description to that video if you want to check it out. White oak is commonly used in boat building, and in fact it's one of the hardest hardwoods. It's commonly available at a relatively economic price, and there's lots of it around in this part of the world. And the wood that I have here was cut and dried at local mills. When you're trying to machine a chunk of white oak that's 2 inches thick, it's incredibly hard on these home gamer tools, and as you can see here, I'm struggling to get it through the saw, and that's because the internal tension within the wood has closed the kerf. So I've had to insert a popsicle stick here to keep the kerf from collapsing and compressing the blade. I thought about buying better tools, and certainly this DeWalt table saw was a step up from my previous Mastercraft that was 35 plus years old. But I'm only ever going to build one boat, and I'm getting pretty close to being finished this one, I hope. Fingers crossed. So investing thousands and thousands of dollars into tools really wasn't in the works for us. So we've got a mix of economical, I guess, tools that, yeah, can do the job. In order to get the hatch molding to match the camber of the forward cabin, I have to remove some material to make that camber, or the opposite, the negative version of it on the coaming itself. So I've saved this chunk of plywood for many years, which is an offcut from the roof beams that were cut for the forward cabin and the main cabin, and they're all exactly the same curvature, so I've used that as the template. Lori got me this bandsaw a few years ago. I think it was more than a few years ago, anyways, for Christmas one year, in planning to create a lot of custom woodwork on the boat. This seems to be a very popular tool for sawing and resawing wood, so you don't get to see me use it very often. This is the first time in quite a while I've used it, and it's a great little tool. This happens to be a Craftex, available from a Canadian retailer, and it's a great little saw. Again, I'm pushing this tool probably to, or near its limits, to be able to handle white oak in these dimensions, and the little 1/4 inch wide blade really didn't track all that well, but I managed to get it through, and we're going to have to do some work with our oscillating sander to clean it up. The blue flexible tube with the yellow tip is kind of cool. It's blowing air on the blade, which keeps the sawdust off the line, and it makes it a lot easier to follow. That was a nice little feature, as well as the work light. It really came in handy on this little project, that's for sure. This video is sped up 2 times and probably give you some sort of indication of how much of a struggle it was to get this small blade through this huge chunk of white oak. I had to keep quite a lot of pressure on it, and that sort of deformed the blade a bit, but as you'll see in the next segment, we fixed that right up. If you've been following our videos, you've seen me use this tool before. It's a rigid oscillating sander, and even though it's probably home gamer quality, this machine is a little workhorse and it really works well. I got this one at a local yard sale for 75 bucks. I don't know what they retail for now, but it was probably one of the best best yard sale finds I've ever found. This machine is capable of reducing this white oak to copious amounts of sawdust in a very short period of time, and silly me forgot to plug in the dust extraction and keep a lot of it out of my environment. But anyways, I'm not as smart I am. I didn't record any video of assembling the frame, which is kind of silly, but anyways, here I am again using the oscillating sander. I've rounded off the corners of the frame, and I'm just trying to get them dressed up so that they look half decent. Again, I haven't put the dust extraction on the machine yet, and in the next clip you'll be able to see maybe a bit of a difference. Here we go, dust extraction engaged. You can probably see it if you look closely at the belt that the vacuum is pulling almost all of the dust downwards and into the vacuum. You're going to see me using this machine a lot in future episodes. I'm not much of a woodworker. I'm making all this up as I go along, trying to figure it out, and I don't know a whole lot about tolerancing woodworking, joinery, etc. As much as I know about doing it with machinery. The tolerances for wood seem to be a lot looser, and I just don't know exactly what I'm doing yet, so this machine certainly comes in handy. So we're going to leave this video off here. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all for coming back and spending some of your precious time with us every week, watching our videos. And so until the next time, from Lori and I, we hope you're all well, happy, and safe. Cheers.